Welcome back to the Shipyard.
And Starsmadas.
Yeah, that's right. A collaboration that you may not know that you need, but in fact, you do need it. So, we've kind of been brainstorming some stuff, and we said, what does Attack Wing need as far as YouTube videos go? What Attack Wing needs is its own big, long conversation, and we'll get there someday. But, yeah, this is kind of the introduction video to, another YouTube channel, which is an excellent YouTube channel, very enthusiastic YouTube channel. One I've enjoyed watching. And also a chance to get more voices on the Shipyard because, well, frankly, me alone talking is kind of boring.
So yeah, I'm a little YouTube channel here. I got into Attack Wing back in 2018, and I consumed probably about 70% of all the videos on YouTube. And when I ran out of, not all of YouTube, sorry, all of the Attack Wing side of YouTube. I eventually realized no one was making videos for a little while, and I was running out of videos to watch, so I started making videos. And then the Shipyard came back, and I was so happy.
Yay. So, as we were talking, we said, you know what? We need to talk about factions. And one thing that WizKids has done well of late with these faction packs is the factions kind of have an identity. At least
yes.
a little more of their own thing that they do. Now, this is going to be a little easier for some of the newer factions, say Romulans, Klingons, even Federation to some extent, Ferengi, and so on.
Ferengi's going to be so easy.
Going to be a lot tougher for, say, Species 8472, Bajorans, these factions that haven't seen new content. But we're going to try. By the way, I'm claiming Deep Space Nine is a Bajoran expansion.
Oh yeah, that's how I was looking at it too.
I think that's the only way we can actually
make one ship that has the most factions on it.
Yeah, I think that's the only way we can make the Bajorans actually a viable faction at this point.
Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm probably going to use the term Diet Federation a few times. I was originally thinking Vulcans might be Diet Federation, but you know what? I don't think they are. They don't have the cards.
No, the Vulcans are just early Federation. They're era-specific Federation.
That's a good way of looking at it, but might want to save that for the first video.
Ah, yes.
Because our first video's going to be on Vulcans.
Because, well, everyone except Andorians love the Vulcans. But yeah,
I think pretty much everyone hates the Vulcans in that series.
Oh, true. Back in Enterprise, yeah, I'm not sure anyone actually liked the Vulcans, except when they came to the rescue. But
yeah, they definitely had it very unlikable for a very long time. But there's a distinct point when they start to make them likable, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the Vulcans we know.
That was season 4, wasn't it? Maybe end of 3, 4. It was basically at the end of the show.
Yeah, it was when the sort of ambassador guy. I'll probably throw a picture of this card on the screen.
Sarek.
When the ambassador guy betrayed the Vulcans to help the Federation, and then it was like, oh, hey, this is the Vulcans we know.
Exactly. So, anyway, the identity of a faction, what they bring to the game, that's the first thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Then I think the easiest way to introduce that would actually be just mentioning very quickly the X-Wing games' identities, because they made it very clear.
Ah, okay. See,
yeah,
I haven't kept up as much with newer X-Wing. I kind of got out when they brought in Scum and Villainy, and I was like, this is cool and too much for me.
Yeah, so with X-Wing First Edition, it was pretty clear. It was the rebels focused on quality ships that were more expensive. The Empire focused on swarm fleets pretty much exclusively, with a few exceptions. Each faction had exceptions. And then Scum and Villainy were about ships that could operate entirely on their own without needing support from another unit. Instead of synergy abilities, they typically had debuff abilities. And so it was like a very simple, balanced setup they had. But with Attack Wing, you've got... I can't even think of the number of factions off the top of my head, but we've got a lot of factions to work with, and WizKids had to do what they could to try and give them an identity. And some of them stuck, some of them didn't really stick.
I want to think it's 13.
Wow, that's a big number. Well, we know how many episodes of the show we'll have.
Although I'm not sure that the Q continuum really counts.
I'm definitely going to have to do a video about the Q continuum, though.
Okay, then we're doing a Q continuum video. You heard it here.
Mainly because I want to talk about possible custom ships, because the Q faction needs a ship.
Okay, I'm with you.
I want to give them the Dowd ship. Not the Dowd, sorry, the Husnuk ship from the Next Generation. That was an illusionary vessel made by a race that had highly destructive powers, but they didn't have any creation powers aside from illusions.
Okay, anyway, I like it.
Yeah. But yeah.
So after we talk about identity, then we're going to get into a little bit of a buyer's guide. Maybe not a total comprehensive breakdown every single expansion, but just kind of what do you need to get started? Give yourself some options. Maybe what you should be looking at if you wanted to play on Tabletop Simulator. You know, like what are the highlights of the faction? You know, for Vulcans, you would really miss out if you didn't at least consider diplomacy in your build.
You know, I don't think I own that card, sadly.
See? And so maybe I'm spoiling part of the episode that's coming up, but that's kind of what we're getting at, is you need... It doesn't mean you have to run that when you run the faction, but it's like certain things just really play to the strength of the faction.
You wouldn't want to run the Federation without systems upgrade.
I end up doing that a lot, though.
Yeah, that was more of a joke.
No, but it makes sense. Like, that's definitely a high priority card. And I get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I don't know. That was one of the first expensive ships I bought. It was in order to get that one. Yeah, I do not have diplomacy. No. Because I only own the 2 retails, and I think it was the blind booster.
Oh, the Talkier?
I think that's it. I own 2 copies of the Talkier.
Ah, okay. And so
that's how I got.
This point kind of transitions into the third idea that we have. It's how do you build and fly the faction well? You know, some factions are better in a joust. Some factions are going to try to outflank you, sensor echo you. Some factions are going to run and hide. Some factions want to rush combat, do it real quick, and get it over with. Some are a little slower to engage, use their tricks to really, say, put time tokens and disable tokens on your stuff, mess around with you. There's a lot of ideas here. So we're going to not only talk about building, but the flying of the factions.
I'm really excited for this. I just love sitting there and pondering all these different ideas and getting them ready in my head, you know. So being able to finally unleash them.
Yeah. And of course, this is not a comprehensive strategy. This is just some things to get you thinking about. Can you run defensive Klingons? Can you run sneaky Klingons? Or are Klingons really just only meant for a joust?
Yeah. Also, if you're new to the game, you'll want to Probably start by collecting one faction. You might mistake this game for Warhammer and think you're only supposed to build one army before you realize no, you're supposed to buy every single ship there is.
Yeah, pretty much. Gets really expensive that way.
Yes, it does. But yeah, I made the mistake of like I always thinking, no, this is cheaper than Warhammer until I watched a video about starting Warhammer and I found out, no, I've spent more money on this than I think some people have on Warhammer. And I've only been playing for 2 years.
Eh. The good news
I
is
still don't have what would be considered a large collection.
I do.
Mind you, Canadian shipping costs are heck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I do feel bad for you guys.
But yeah, so yeah, that would also be pretty good because when I started collecting Federation and Romulan.
I mean, those are good factions.
I was so lucky because I managed to actually get a Romulan starter set that had been sitting in a comic book shop in the city for a while.
Very nice.
And so that really cemented me into the Romulan faction because I only bought like 3 Romulan products and I already had like 9 chips. So that's pretty good.
See, that's what those faction packs are. I really wish WizKids would keep them in stock.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I'm hoping
we're not here just to bash on WizKids. It's a little easy to do sometimes.
We're here to actually say some good things about the game.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? Good things about Attack Wing in 2020. Needs to be good things about something, right?
Yeah. Another point that we want to really focus on, and I think this gets overlooked. I know I overlook it, but
this is something I'm definitely not good at.
If we see a faction on the table, how do we beat it?
Yeah, like, oh no, Borg, what do you do? Ah! It's easier than it looks.
Exactly. So, like, if you see Klingons and the Klingons want to joust, should you joust back with them? Probably not.
I'll tell you one faction I don't know how to fight at the moment. I don't know how to combat the Ferengi. Sounds silly, but I don't. They're tricksy.
I've typically found ramming a torpedo down their throats to be effective.
I'll have to keep that in mind. Probably actually have to do some tabletop simulator games in preparation for some of these videos.
Yeah,
things.
That'll be the other side of it because, we're not necessarily talking about absolute pure faction play, but that's kind of the idea, is just to explore what these different factions have to offer. And we're also going to talk about how thematic a faction is. Does it feel like we are that faction, right? If we play Borg, do we feel like we can actually say resistance is futile? If we're playing the Klingons, does it feel like today is a good day to die?
Oh, yes, the Klingons! That I think, has probably one of the best faction feels in the game, honestly.
And no, I'm not actually talking about running those particular cards, but just talking in general about, does the game emulate the show?
When you get behind the wheel of the ship, does it feel like you're just playing a generic starship with a paint job on it that says, I'm X faction? Or does it actually feel like, I'm hunting down Michael Eddington in the Badlands? Or, does it feel like my shuttlecraft is actually docking with my ship? Or have I just slapped a battery on the side of my ship filled with crew that I can expend? Like,
yeah.
Are these things working?
No,
or are these things just excuses for game mechanics?
Of course, there's always some amount of abstraction going from a show to a game. Not saying it's ever 100% comparable, but just trying to give a feel of, does this evoke the same ideas? That's the idea.
Think of a few good examples.
Yeah.
I think Andorians, although they aren't their own faction in the game, yeah, I guess I can talk about the Andorians because we won't be really covering them as a faction because they aren't a faction in the game, but they definitely feel thematic whenever you play them because it's all like, I want to support my friends. I've got all these cards that are support-based, but they're also very anti-Vulcan.
I don't know. We might break down independent a lot. We could
That's
do it.
I'm looking forward to the Maquis one.
Yeah. And then the last thing we're gonna do is some kind of like a top three, top five of favorite ships from the faction, or favorite upgrades, thematic upgrades. That'll vary from faction to faction. We're willing to take ideas on that, but we're gonna do some kind of favorites from the faction. And I think that'll be interesting.
I gotta say, I can't get enough of top 10 lists, and I'm pretty sure everyone feels the same way who watches your videos. Top 10 lists, just watch them consecutively.
Oh, okay. See, so apparently, well, so if each of us does a top five, that becomes a top 10.
Yeah, it does, I guess. I guess it does, and then we can let the people in the comment section pick which 10 they actually like.
Or we each do a top 10, and then that's just more top 10 goodness.
There are factions, though, that don't have 10 ships, though, so that's the problem.
They don't necessarily have to be ships. They could just be cards.
Oh, that opens up windows. That opens up windows.
Although, trust me, I've looked at Kazon. It's really tough.
Yeah. I recently tried to play them in a campaign, and for a faction which is, all about stealing, they only have 3 cards that let you steal. Like, yeah, I was shocked. They only have 3 cards that let you actually steal.
There are times I wish Kazon were just independent.
Yeah, well, they've been made a sub-faction, so I think that was WizKid's attempt at a patch, was just, okay, now you can use all of independent cards on Kazon ships.
Yeah, it still doesn't help.
Yeah, I feel like they could have been included in the Motley Fleet pack, just not even as a ship, but as a few cards, preferably as a ship. Maybe replace the Dauntless with, like, a Kazon Predator. And they could have really done some amazing stuff for the faction with a few cards, like even just a basic, because the Kazons are so early expansion, right? They're very early on.
They came out in like wave 7.
Yeah, I think they have only one pack that has time tokens in it. Like just a discount card that affects only Kazon upgrades could have been enough to actually make them slightly more viable. Things like that, like little. That's finding out whether a faction's good, where a faction went wrong, how to make the faction work, and maybe what factions to combine when you're trying to make your faction work. That sort of information.
I like that.
Yeah,
because then we're talking about cooperative play, and is it reasonable for the Romulans to ally with the Dominion? Well, maybe not the Dominion, but maybe the Cardassian side of it. Who knows? I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, they did team up in the show together, and I mean,
exactly.
It didn't go over well, but they did team up for a little bit.
That was
mission, I think.
That had more to do with Edibran Tane and bad intel and all that, but the concept was great.
I gotta play that mission. There's a mission. I think it came with the Romulan faction pack, and it is based off of that episode, and it's a huge mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta play that one someday.
And who knows?
Probably on Tabletop Simulator, because my local group plays just very short games, typically with one ship. Because if you add any more than one ship, then the game becomes longer.
Yeah. I understand.
The group I play with in England, because I work night shifts, so I'm often available for their time zone. They pretty much exclusively play massive battles.
Okay.
Where it's not everybody having like a huge team, but it'll be like 5 people playing on one board. So it takes its time.
Yeah, that does take its time. But yeah, I think there's a lot here, and who knows? Maybe we'll end up talking about what factions need going forward. That might be an interesting point too.
I love speculation. I graduated from a game design school, so this is definitely a passion of mine, trying to figure out how to fix things that I didn't make.
I like that. I enjoy doing that too. My wife yells at me when I try to critique her cooking, though.
Yeah. Everyone's an expert, but the one who actually made it.
Yeah, pro tip, everyone: don't critique other people's cooking if you want
Only
to
off of
continue
praise.
eating it. There, not only do
Yeah.
you get Star Trek advice, you get some life advice today.
Yeah.
All
Like,
right,
don't flip
and
the
I
table.
guess we'll come up with some kind of fancy name for this collaboration. But you know what? It's all fun, and I for one am looking forward to this.
I'm thinking for this first series, we'll probably be hosting it on your channel.
I probably both.
Yeah, alternating between episodes.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, or maybe we
I
just
just know
both
you have the largest subscriber base, so it might be logistically sound to put it on yours for the beginning.
or maybe we just both upload to both channels
That would work too.
because hey, that lets everybody see it who would be interested in seeing it.
And that's truly what the series is about. It's about bringing back the game.
Exactly. So that is an intended goal. And hey, when you do collaborations, I know when I watch YouTube music collaborations, a lot of times the videos end up on both channels or all the channels. So, and no one complains about that sort of stuff. It's like, hey, if you want to watch it on one person's channel, fine. If you want to watch it on everybody's channel, okay.
Oh, as for a possible upload schedule for this, we don't have one laid out right now. We're still trying to figure out how long the editing process will be. We're trying to keep it quick. That's sort of a theme that both of our channels have been trying to work towards, is more faster to make videos that can deliver more content faster. I'm ideally trying to keep it down to a week, just because I don't have too much free time anymore, because I'm working full time.
Right.
But ideally, once I get a system in place, it'll be faster. That's what sort of this first video is also going to be an experiment of, is how long does it actually take to make these things?
Yeah, and I think one of
I
the
did a
other
test today, and it
ideas
didn't take too long.
Yeah, that's always good. One of the other ideas is, hey, if we put out a video a week or every other week, even that keeps people coming back for more.
Because our channel still have our own independent videos.
Exactly.
I know the Shipyard has. I think I mentioned already that I started making when there was a bit of a lull between channels. My channel has entered a little bit of a lull now because I'm working full time, but the Shipyard has now jumped back in and is making video after video after video, and it's very good to have the content back.
Well, I try. I may not have the quality at this point, but I have the quantity. I got to be a little lighthearted about that sort of stuff.
Well, a lot of the times when I watch tackling videos, I don't typically watch them because of the ADHD. I just listen to them most of the time.
Yeah.
While I'm doing other things. To this date, whenever I buy a tackling set, I look up both a Shipyard video and a True Flight Silverwing video, and I watch them. Even if I'm just like, I have the item in the cart, I'm like, I need a second opinion here. I still watch both of those videos, so it's great to be working with the Shipyard here.
Yeah. Well, hey, True Flight was the first. He did all the big stuff, and he kind of set the bar. So I can't take any credit there, but I've always been appreciative that people would even be willing to listen to what I had to say about a game that I love.
Oh, one of the other funny things that might come out of this series is just how odd my pool of knowledge might be. Because I joined in 2018, and then I consumed all these videos that have been made over the... How long has this game been running? Since 2014?
15.
15, okay. So I've been consuming like 5 years of videos. And that made up a lot of my knowledge base. And then I started playing the game against myself. So I have a very unique play style. Because I initially played just on my own. Then I started playing against the local meta of just my family, essentially, because lockdown. And then I started playing with some group from England that have their own custom rules. But the thing about my knowledge base is that it's sort of a compilation of a whole bunch of knowledge from 5 years. So half of the stuff I'm working with is outdated. So sometimes when I try strategies, they're old strategies, and I'll need someone to say, "Hey, you know what? That doesn't work anymore."
Yeah, that happens.
Like, I've definitely made a.
We are passing through the Basin Rift, sir. The projection will return when we have cleared it.
It's interfering with our uplink from Starfleet cartography.
The rift affects all long-range communication.
Commander Riker, evasive maneuvers.
How the sort of expert, the attack wing expert, and the attack wing. I'm figuring things out.
Oh,
together.
Sorry, I'm wrong. It was 2013 that the game came out.
Oh, I thought it was 14. But that makes sense.
It was, I want to say fall of 13.
Yeah, I started back in 2018. I bought the game as a graduation gift to myself. So,
very nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I feel like we've gone on long enough, and we've held the people hostage for far too long.
Yeah, so get back to the Facebook group, continue posting your memes, and check out the Troy system.
Ooh, thank you. Thank you for plugging that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I saw the video of it a few days ago, and I just recently played in the sort of final big match for a competitive campaign with the England group, and a big discussion at one point, because we wound up in that rare situation where you actually play with an obstacle on the board that represents like an asteroid field, and one of the ship's templates drove through it, but the ship itself didn't actually land on it. And so it became a big discussion of, what are the rules for that? Because most people don't play with asteroids anymore. And had Troy just been sitting there in someone's tab, we could have just opened it up and scrolled down to where the rules were, but instead it just took like 15 minutes before we got the whole thing sorted. Basic rules, Troy seems like it's going to be a pretty good thing.
That really is what Troy is for. To just, it's almost like, who needs TOs anymore? We have Troy.
Yeah. Troy, it can read your mind. Because it's Troy.
She is the goddess of empathy.
I didn't know that.
If you remember Reg Barkley's holodeck simulation, when he has all of the crew. I think we all want to
forget Reg Barkley's holodeck simulation.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a totally different thing, and now we definitely have held you hostage for far too long. So. Yeah,
when we get into holodeck territory, you know.
And we all know that no holodeck episode ended well.
Voyager had some pretty good holodeck episodes.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. Holodeck episodes are fantastic, but they always had this weird twist in them. And most of them also involved holding people hostage.
That is disturbingly right.
Also, why did they never use the transporter to just beam somebody out of the holodeck? You knew where they were.
The holodeck soaks up so much power that the transporters always go offline.
Apparently.
And that's not even true, because now that I remember it, Voyager's holodeck is considered independent from the starship in that you can turn off the warp core and the holodeck will still run.
Great.
They really just push the limits for holodecks. It's like, suspend all the disbelief here. Nothing's going to make sense. It's almost as bad as Mirror Universe episodes.
Oh, but I love the Mirror Universe episodes.
They're so corny, but they do push the limit of what makes sense.
Oh, they do. Like, they absolutely do.
Like, oh yeah, we wiped out this whole planet, but 200 years from now, there's still going to be a Mirror Universe version of you. Don't worry. We didn't kill anyone important to your history.
Mirror Universe, that'll be a very interesting faction pack.
Oh, well, we already had one of them.
Well, I mean...
probably end the video right now, otherwise we're going to spend 10 minutes talking about the Calvin pack.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a very interesting faction discussion for us.
Yes, definitely. I've already put some thought into that one.
But yeah. So, anyway, if you've watched this far, you now have rights to let us know maybe some order of factions you'd like to see. We already know we're doing Vulcans first, but after that, let us know. Let us know what you'd like. Yeah, John, I already know you want Klingons. We got that covered. All right. Until next time.
Bye, John.
We will both see you around the shipyard and
Starsmadas.
You don't have a good sign off, do you?
I'm sorry. I partially do not like the name of my own channel because I had to change it. But yeah, we'll see you around the Starsmadas. No, that sounds terrible. Basically, we'll see you around the shipyard. Starsmadas will be off in the corner somewhere,
making awesome animated content. All right.
Bye.
Bye.